such a long fucking day, Toast. Didn't even take the fucking thumbnail. I do my lapel thing. Do you know what I don't... The one thing I don't like about the Season 20 box set?
What do you mean you don't like to
Why
see
are Peter's hands up? Put your hands down, Peter.
I
Looks like he's
don't
just
know.
fucking taking a picture for the England team.
The pose. No, because he's got a gem.
Number one.
But then what is that gem from?
That's from...
The gem of Akamoto.
Metabolist 3.
Probably.
Just like this podcast.
What a good segue.
Episode 269.
But you're right. Without looking at it, zooming in, he does look like he's doing a random hand hold up logo.
I want to hold your... And he does look like one of the Beatles. I mean, the only way it would have been more Beatleified is if it was a Patrick Troughton box set. Quickly off the top of your head, we've got a box set for every Doctor.
Except for Mr. Troughton, yeah.
So which one do we want?
Season 6. We need Space Pirates, baby.
We need Season 5, where there's nothing. Charge 70 quid and animate the whole fucking thing.
Like you did with Sharda, which isn't canon.
Reshoot it. But it's... Because everyone was like, hi everyone, sorry, podcast. I'm George, this is Connor. We talk about pop culture on the internet.
Doctor Who goodness.
It's new.
Yeah.
But we're starting off with our
retro fever.
Our take on modern pop culture by talking about a TV show from the 1960s.
Yeah, retro fever.
You know when David Bradley was cast as the Doctor?
Way back when, yes.
Yeah.
Freaking 7 years ago.
It's just like Billy Hartnell. No, he's affecting mannerisms of William Hartnell playing the Doctor, not actually being the Doctor. And then Peter Capaldi had to say, well, we've always got David Bradley if we wanted to do the first Doctor. And Stephen Moffat was like, it's very clever. I could do something very clever with that. I love Stephen Moffat as a writer. I love his time on the show. Some decisions, I think, were worse than John Nathan Turner. He's the modern-day John Nathan Turner, but at least John Nathan Turner had the gumption to be like, fuck it, what comedy fucking actor am I putting in it this week? Ken Dodd, get on the magic bus and bring Orville. God, what are we talking about? Anyway, would you and they were like, we should get him to reshoot some of the missing stories, which I kind of get. But in a disrespectful way of we'd lose the original audio and what's left of the original actor's performance in those stories.
Mm-hmm.
I love Galaxy 4. It's a fucking boring story. We went to... No, I went to watch it.
Yes, you keep insisting I went with you, although I didn't.
I just... Maybe, you're always with me, Anakin Skywalker.
I'm Jiminy Cricket.
Just sitting on my shoulder and I'm just like this.
I was there.
Honey, could you scooch down a bit? Yeah. Bashing my head on the roof again.
Okay, now.
Yeah. You sound like that fucking guy from Trek. In a roar. Where was I going? No, I just feel like you're always with me, in spirit, like Anakin's ghost.
Just like Hayden Christensen this week on Ahsoka.
Oh,
yeah.
Have you watched today's one?
I've not seen any. I haven't even caught up on Rebels. Out of brief divergent, I did Tales of the Jedi a year later. It was actually wonderful.
Oh, is that out?
Tales of the Jedi. It came out Halloween last year.
Qui-Gon Jinn.
Who I thought was Ezra, and young Dooku. It's young Dooku, who I thought was Ezra. Dooku no Buku. So Dooku.
Got the move. My mum's calling me from Mexico. She forgets the time difference.
Aliva.
Calls me like 5 times at 11 o'clock, and I'm like, in the morning, I'm like, what the fuck do you want? Listen.
Excuse me, madam.
Look, if you don't stop calling me while I'm at work, shit's gonna hit the wind. No, but I'm having a lovely holiday, Mum.
That was a false fit in.
The fucking question we're doing... I've seen many a thing of... I've seen the spoilers for it, but I've seen what Ahsoka did for fans of Clone Wars last week. They very much do for fans of Rebels this week.
Oh, goody.
Oh, goody indeed.
But I don't know what. I think there's 8, and this is 6 today.
Fucking hell, we've only got 2 left.
I know what's going to happen.
Part of me was like... Because I got the thing spoiled for me. I was like, what, is that the end of the season? That's fucking brave.
You honestly thought today was... Well, I mean,
I don't Google it, it'll ruin it.
No, episode count.
Don't look at who's in it. But may I just say...
If...
You can probably guess who it is. Out of people
because I think I may have seen an image. And I saw an article that said, if you know... Have you seen this person? This actor. Have you seen this actor? But that's all I'll say.
You're not an actor.
Or actress. I think I know where it
Well,
is.
we get you females.
But there is-
I think we just generalise and just everyone's an actor now.
Episode 6, and then there's 2
Don't
more.
read that.
There's 2 more episodes. I'm not trying to read nothing.
Don't read it, Connor. Slap the phone out your hands. Anyway, the point was,
Wrong turns up. No.
do we get
I mean,
do
he's
we,
in
do
it.
we get
He's in it.
Do we get Matt Berry to reconstruct the Troughton episodes?
Yes.
Troughton in the Highlander,
Oh my god. As a Highlander.
but it's just Matt Berry.
As Jamie
Well,
McCricken's father.
You think your skirt short? Look at Jamie's. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. The Cybermen.
Mm.
Everyone, whether it be fan art or impressions, get your Matt Berry doing Patrick Troughton stuff. nobothercontact@gmail.com.
Please.
Well, unhand me, you metal pricks. And if Matt
Your
Berry's
metal
not,
tin
and if
cans.
Matt Berry's not available, we just,
Get Nando.
we
Get.
get the footage, deep faked, and we get Ben Kearns to do the voice because he's a very good Matt Berry impressionist.
Shout out to Ben Kearns.
Yes. Shit's gonna hit the wind. Unhand me, you metal pricks. But yeah, Galaxy 4. Fuck me. What were we talking about? I feel like I nearly fell asleep in
Animations.
that one.
Yeah.
To be fair, when we went to The Abominable Snowman, it's the dark room, it's the long
The
drawn
dark
out
room.
stories.
The dark room.
It's very warm because there's a lot of warm, cuddly people next to us, and I just found myself just.
Nodding on.
Well, Jesus. Well, especially on about 3 on 4, I was like, just
Ah,
fucking kill me. So
Wait, Abominable Snowman, was that a 6-part?
was that 6? No wonder I was tired. Mainly
Was it
because I worked
6?
that day as well, and then come down, and then it was like
I thought it was only 4. Was it 6? Oh, why have I got doubts now? Is it 6?
I don't know. We was there, wasn't we?
Underwater Menace.
Will we
is
be at the
4.
Underwater Menace? Yes.
Yes.
Tune in next week.
Definitely. I will be there.
Would you be able to get?
There was
tickets
6
tomorrow?
episodes.
I
Yeah.
get paid Friday.
Okay, yes. I can
And
do
I shall
that.
send you the
Yeah.
gubbins.
Yeah.
Have you
that's
got
fine.
a BFI membership thing? Because that's what I did to buy the last ones.
I don't.
And I don't remember if I actually did, because it was members are cheaper by £2, and I was like, yeah, makes sense, fucking paying now, just to fucking pay again later. I'm a member of the BFI, but I'm not a member of Cineworld yet.
Oh.
Payday soon come, do yearly, fuck pay monthly.
Yeah, exactly.
But I have seen a new film. Well, a film that
Have
come
you?
out this year.
Right.
I have seen. Can you just push that door closed? Because there's many musics that we could get copyrighted stricken for.
Music no more.
Music no more. I'm Dr. No More. Well, yeah, I saw a little film from an indie film company called Disney.
Disney.
And Pixar. I saw Elemental on.
Oh, that's one I've not seen.
Oh,
Yeah,
how many
no.
catch up, Slowpoke?
You've been saying that to me for years, and that ain't gonna change.
Oh yes.
I will forever be the slowpoke when it comes to Disney.
2023 in film so far. If we're counting documentaries, I've seen 37.
Bloody hell.
Are
Documentaries.
you impressed?
Yes.
Well, no, because I at the moment, I have included
Hmm.
Wham, Stan Lee, KSI in real life.
Okay.
Mainly because they're presented as feature length things. Also, I've included the Power Rangers once and always because it's a big long episode.
Yeah.
Whereas if it were the upcoming David Beckham documentary is in 4 parks. Parks? It's in 4
4
different parks
parks.
across the land.
Central Park. No.
Central Park, Hyde Park, The Park, and Parks and Recreation Season 6, Episode 12 on the extras section. But no, I really enjoyed. I think deep down it might be my favourite animated film of the year.
Fair play.
And do you know what else I saw? Sorry, no, yeah, because I saw another one because I watched The Little Mermaid.
Oh, goodie.
And have you watched that one yet?
No.
May I
Shock
say,
horror.
In terms of the live action recreations or reimagining, if you're some fucking level headed Disney executive,
It's not abysmal.
It's not the word. I would
No?
put it.
Okay.
I
A
put
tier
it-
list.
I put it second favourite behind
Second
Jungle
favourite.
Book.
Really, that high up? Out of I don't know, 9 or 10 they've done. I don't know, 7, 6. I'm
Aladdin
guessing
was
numbers.
Okay.
Yeah.
I hate Beauty and the Beast because it's shot for shot. Lion King, similar problem, and mainly for the travesty of "Can You Feel the Love Tonight" being sung in the fucking day.
Yes, tonight. Can you feel the love?
Honestly. I mean, it done better than Peter Pan and Wendy. That's all I'll say about this year's live-action Disney one. I really enjoyed it. At the moment, it's hovering near some recognition. So I've still not watched the Bar Mitzvah film. We also not invited to my Bar Mitzvah, the Adam Sandler one, the new one.
No,
Not yet.
Neither have I.
But no, considering like Elemental and Super Mario Bros., it's a very good Pixar film. Like in terms of your Pixar-ness,
Pixar nerds.
it's one of your things you've not caught up on a lot, really.
No, definitely not. No.
So what would you say in terms of your Pixar experience are your top ones? Because we did the Pixar World Cup, if you remember, about 5 years ago.
5
maybe?
years ago, yeah. Pixar.
We'd have to do it again now.
A quick Pixar ranking.
No, if you had to go definitive, like this is the best Pixar film.
Incredibles.
Oh,
1. Not 2. 1.
I love Incredibles 1. I think it's better than Incredibles 2, yes. But because Pixar kind of went through that patch, like, post, I want to say post Up. Like, I think, whatever way you look at it, Toy Story 3 can fall either side of the,
that scale, yeah.
of the scale, exactly. But I think Toy Story through to Up, I think is hit after hit. And I really
pretty much.
Cars in that because Cars at the time, for me, I really enjoyed Cars at the time. I collected a lot of the little die-cast toys because, Pixar's good for merchandising. I think it's mad that, because my mum went to Disneyland Paris this year, I think it's mad that, Toy Story is that one thing that obviously it's about toys, but they keep making merchandise for.
Yeah.
Like,
it's a bankable.
My son's favourite Pixar film is Monsters University. There's less for that. Loves Nemo and that now. Like, it kind of, what kids do? They, like, rinse a film, get bored of it, go on another.
Go on to the next.
I've always tried to, like, you come back to it, but I like branch out. So, like,
broaden his horizons at
like
a early age.
Life and stuff like that. Likes Elemental because it's, obviously bright colours and,
Very visual, yeah.
It's a very visual thing. It's why he likes, like, Super Mario is, like, one of his favourite films. Because, like, I think I've watched it about 20 times this year. And it is a very okay film, but I think seeing Elemental really sort of raised the animation game, and I'm still yet to properly sit down and watch Across the Spider-Verse.
And even TMNT?
And TMNT,
for that part,
so like the animation turnout this year in the end really is quite good.
Quite strong, yeah.
But no, like I really enjoyed Elemental. It's and then there's kind of like with Disney, like a renaissance kind of thing for me. Like we look at, let's do it live on air while we look at this Pixar list. Fuck off, Microsoft
Sponsored by
Edge.
Microsoft Edge. It's better than Bing. Anything's better than Bing.
Movies. Movie on the big screen. List of Pixar films.
Not the Simpsons movie.
Right. So I'd say Toy Story, obviously perfection.
Yeah.
Bugs Life, Fast and the We've done all this before. You know the drill. Up is fucking
phenomenal. But I haven't seen since 2009. I think I've only ever watched the film once.
I've semi-introduced him to that just because of the bright colours. Something I haven't tried him yet on is the Wall-E, just because I think there's a lot to follow. I know it's a very simple movie in terms of it's basically just visual storytelling.
Yeah.
I really love Ratatouille. Ratatouille's gone up in my estimations the last couple of years. In all honesty, we are due a rewatch and a Pixar thing.
Pixathon, yeah.
Pixathon. But I would say the Renaissance arguably starts with Inside Out. But then Good Dinosaur is shit and it really does let it down. And it's the first time that we had more than one in a year. Finding Dory I've vastly enjoyed a lot because
I did.
He loves Nemo and like it's good that there's
Fishes Part 2.
There's two films that he can watch of that stuff. Cars 3 is really good. I watched that recently for the first time.
Okay.
I
still haven't got past Cars 1, but Cars 1 I liked.
Cars 1, Cars 2 is mediocre and trying something
meant to be, yeah.
with it. Which Owen Wilson said if there's a Cars 4 he'd like to sort of go back to the Cars 2
okay.
for it. I really like Cars 3.
Fine.
I think it's definitively the second best of that trilogy.
Cars 2
really
is bottom. Or you go put the original at the bottom?
Cars 2 is bottom. No, Cars is really enjoyable. It just comes at this point where it's like you've had Incredibles.
Banger after banger.
Like it's sandwiched between two it's in the middle of this run of like 5
phenomenal stuff. Yeah.
Well, no, everything really, like the 7 of them, like it's fantastic. And then I would say Finding Dory's good. Cars
I
3.
need to watch Coco.
Coco could honestly be top 3, top 5 definite.
Okay.
I'd say if you're looking, because there's similar vibe films in terms of their filmography, because I know they've focused a lot on we're gonna do this and this, and like they never wanted to do sequels or prequels or follow-up films unless there was an idea for it.
Yeah.
But then obviously they've done 4 Toy Story films. There is a 5th one on the way, which I think is pointless.
Yeah, why,
But
man?
they've always been They've always been very good at when they do hit an original one. It does
Bang.
hit for me.
It does bang more often than not, yeah.
Inside Out, or Elemental, and Coco are kind of the hooks. You've got the Day of the Dead festival, and the life, death, family, and togetherness in a Mexican town. You've got Inside Out about your emotions and coming to terms with them, and puberty is a big thing of that.
Yeah, I did see Inside Out,
like
yeah.
with Turning Red, but like
Still need to
Turning
watch
Red's
that.
more of a full metaphorical thing for it, because the red panda is basically for the female menstruation cycle in all essence. That is what it represents.
Right, okay.
But Elementals, obviously, it's about immigration, and it's
Yeah, I get that.
it's fucking and you get it more so when like the thing pops up for the behind the scenes of Elemental. It's called Good Chemistry, the making of Elemental, and the director Peter Son, he talks about he drew experiences from his life, like his Korean family coming across to America, building a sort of small community with their vegetable shop, and him not pursuing that to like take over the family business, but wanting to go into animation. That kind of plays a lot of elements,
into
and
the
fact that
story.
he's married to a his wife is American.
Right,
So
cool,
it's like
okay.
a lot of those elements are in
Yeah,
play.
pun intended, yes. Oh, no, cool, okay.
And I'd say the Renaissance, it would be, if you discount Good Dinosaur, it's Inside Out, I think up to current day.
Yeah.
I think it's Simpsons post-season, 15 syndrome. There's different eras, and I think it's nice that I've really enjoyed the original Pixar's more than I've enjoyed
the sequels and the follow-ups.
I enjoyed Incredibles 2. I wanted more of that world. It was, it was like 15 years too late.
Yeah, and we were grown up at that
Toy Story
point.
4 ends the series well again.
Yeah, again, which we didn't think would be possible, but it did.
I think Onward, I watched that again yesterday. Like I had a lot of because my niece is obviously big into this kind of stuff as well, and she's very the same with her. Like as she grew up, I've known her from 6 months old to like now in the age of 4 going on 5. Like you branch her out, you see what she likes, you try her on this, because kids are always like, no, I just want to watch this. It's like, well, try this, and you branch out. She's not done Soul or anything that deep, but I think the first time she's actually sat down and watched Onward, and she loved it. Obviously a lot of colours and the magic in the world kind of thing. But Luca, I love. That's one of her favourite films as well. Maybe that's a bridge for Noah, because there's the sea, and we've done Nemo. Turning Red, I think she liked that as well. Anything really apart from Lightyear, because that's very heavily reliant on what's to come.
Yeah.
We've got Hello.
Yeah.
Or
I've not
Elio.
seen Elio or Elio.
Upcoming. It's directed by Adrian Molina.
Alfred Molina's cousin.
Maybe
Nice.
screenplay by Molina and producer. We've not. Do you know what we've not had in a while? A
Who?
Pete Docter film, but then he is now the CEO of
Pixar.
Pixar. So Inside Out was, I think, a Pete Docter film.
And Soul. I thought I
automatically
saw his
slaps.
name. I thought I saw his name in Soul somewhere.
No,
Yeah.
Soul, yes, Soul. So Soul is very good. Have you watched Soul?
I did watch Soul, and I did love the Soul.
I love that because that come out, non.
That was around. It was Christmas
They're
Day
also
pandemic.
kind of the same
Yeah.
thing, isn't they? Because it's like inside your head, inside the soul, and the
Suppose they are.
elements.
Yeah. Suppose they are.
I think Elemental it'll be slept on, but it'll be a really appreciated film in years to come. I
okay.
love the influx of new directors. Pete Docter, obviously OG. Dan Scanlon as well, who was
Monsters University.
was it Monsters University?
Yeah, I see. His name's there. I see it.
I thought he was more original than that. Obviously. I didn't realise Andrew, because Andrew Stanton, you think of the big names in Pixar, is unfortunately John Lasseter, because without him we would not have it. But Pete Docter, Andrew Stanton,
A man that was big at the time, still big in my heart, but Brad Bird, he isn't doing as
and I
much.
love that he was completely across the second Incredibles as well, like he was the first one. But no, it's more original stuff. Like Kelsey Mann's going to be directing Inside Out too.
Who did the first one then?
Pete Docter.
Oh, fine. Okay. Fine.
which obviously, as he's in a more in charge place, he's probably got
Executive
less
place.
time. But
Yeah.
I'd still love every now and again for Pete Doctor to
Name to
drop
turn
back
up.
in and that is Ultimate Redemption because
Oh,
the
'cause he
director
did
of
The Good
Elemental did The Good
Dinosaur.
Dinosaur. So you know what?
Oh.
I'm glad they stuck at it because the director of one of the the writer of one of the worst Doctor Who stories in
Him?
Stephen. No, in it is an example in Stephen.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Stephen something or other, who wrote Journey to the Centre of TARDIS,
Oh, right.
wrote the finale for Sherlock Series 2. So there is redemption within
Yeah.
the industry. But I can't believe that. Literally, like 18 years later, like he's hit. That's golden for me. I would have an Elemental 2. There is talks of it. You know, I'm up for it. Cancelled projects.
Do you think it'll be Disney Plus
Yeah.
shorts? I feel like I Am Groot, like Toy Story presents.
Well,
do you
they
not
kind of
think they'd
used
be
to do those
shorts?
because they had the Toy Story tunes. They had look, there's no box office because Luca was completely straight to
digital.
digital.
Yeah.
There was a small release for
Soul.
Again for Turning Red, like it's lent more to that market. So, cancelled projects. New, yeah, I remember that because it was the same as Rio, and that was due out in 2012. So that would have been the Brave slot.
The Brave slot.
Maybe it wouldn't have been such a bad idea. But anyway, we were talking about Doctor Who earlier, were we not?
Yes, believe it.
Your name is Maurice Moss, is it not? It is not. Oh, also got to talk about that. Did you have on your bingo card
My
of this
bingo
year?
card.
Richard Ayoade supporting a turf? No.
Don't know. No comment. Can't remember.
So Graham Linehan,
Mm.
or Lynham, whatever he took, the original creator and writer for Father Ted, for the IT Crowd, notorious man against trans rights, who basically through Twitter and X shenanigans, you know, I think got accounts suspended, has lost a lot of work and book deals and writing gigs because of, you know, voicing his transphobic opinions. Releasing a book, I think in the last couple of weeks, about his life and sort of like mainly, you know, this side of it, like this side of his career and what's happened next. I don't know what it's called. I'm not going to look up the title of it because I'm not giving him the fucking Google search time or the air time. All I'm giving him is this fact that he's still a prick, which is a shame because I love the IT Crowd, but I can see there's problems with it, and you know it's going to be even harder to enjoy now. Where one of the pull quotes put on the cover of the book, supporting his brilliance, was Richard Ayoade.
Oh.
Yeah. So now it's kind of like, oh, a man that I would have loved to have played the Doctor at some point. Now I'm kind of like, you know what? Maybe it's good we never got Richard Ayoade as the Doctor, and maybe we should never. Maybe as a country we should all club together and not watch any more of the Crystal Maze. But
Goodness me.
that was a thing.
That escalated.
Yeah, literally, that just come to my head while I, you know, accidentally quoted that show. You know, separate art from the artist is a thing that we've talked about for a long time, but yeah, to publicly come out and back him and for it to be on the cover of his book, whether it's a pull quote, whether it's changed, whether Richard knew what he was doing or not, that's kind of a hard thing to sort of overlook now. So I'm also not one of the people that's like, you know, calling for everyone's heads and cancelling or whatever, but it's kind of a thing of, oh, I'm not going to actively sort of participate and seek out stuff with him in it as much anymore. Like,
Yeah.
it's not like, you know, I can, you know, maybe enjoy some previous work, but, you know, he's not really done a lot of acting gigs post IT Crowd and stuff like that, really. So, you know, he's mainly gone into more presenting, like Travel Man, Crystal Maze, like we said. You know, does a lot of the stuff with Big Fat Quiz of the Year. You know, normally one of the people on that. But there's another reason that, well, another person on Big Fat Quiz of the Year that, you know, we probably won't be seeing on it again, if not now or ever, hopefully. Did you see the you're a documentary fan, right?
I mean, not. I mean, no.
Are you becoming more of a documentary fan?
I mean, I am,
Connor?
but it has to be. It has to be ones that I'm actively interested in, or
'Cause
something I'm aware of.
I'm a big Louis Theroux fan.
Mm.
And when he brings out a new thing, it's one of the things that I love, that, you know, Louis Theroux's now cool and mainstream and that everyone watches it.
Jiggle, jiggle.
Another thing that's risen in prominence is the Channel 4 Dispatches documentaries. You vaguely aware of them?
No,
because I used to be
not at all.
partially aware as a
Not at
kid. So basically, Channel 4 Dispatches, it's their own sort of Channel 4 led.
God, 22 seasons. Is this the right
They're all
dispatches?
single. Yeah, but they're all single episodes. They end up like doing a lot of subject matter. They did like I think a few years ago they did the investigation into abuse in nursing homes and things like that, in care, things like that. The most recent one, so Dispatches was announced. When was this? So it was announced for Saturday. I think on Thursday. The time of it was extended. What they kind of do as well is it's a space saying that there's going to be a Dispatches documentary out. This is what, but then they announce it like the day before it happens, kind of thing. Like this is what it's going to be. And a subject was given, so it was written, like there was a gap for it in the TV schedule. That's it. And the rumours were that there's a group of high-profile comedians that have gotten away with, and there is a lot of allegations of sexual abuse and assault within the industry, high-profile ones. Now, I don't remember if there's an exact number, but I think I remember seeing a number like 5 or 6 high-profile people banded round, like that's what it's going to be. And that was what the documentary was going to cover, like it's going to sort of like expose some of these, because I remember on a Louis Theroux, his most recent series he did an episode with comedian Catherine Ryan, who don't know if you know her, she's American, works with Jimmy Carr a lot, 8 out of 10 Cats, does Countdown and things like that, has a lot of shows with him that he did on Comedy Central. A lot of it was shit because it was like Your Face or Mine, and fucking would you do a pole dance with the fucking strip club owner or just some of them weird fucking trash TV things.
Yeah.
She talked about there was a really high profile comedian that she had called out publicly, not like to him, sorry, and like but it's
this Catherine Ryan.
Yes, that Catherine Ryan, who I'm not a fan of herself really, like in terms of her work, because it's with comedians in the UK, they get a one panel show and then they're stuck on fucking everything they're on. Well, not anymore, but like Mock the Week, Cats Does Countdown, things like that. It's like it's why that's a different thing, but it's why like Jack Whitehall has never been that funny to me as a comedian. I like him more as an actor and in the stuff he does with his dad. Because it's just like, here's a comedian that's popular. We're going to stick him fucking everywhere on every single channel. They did it with Ramesh Ranganathan, but he picks and chooses a lot of his stuff and he's very enjoyable. She talks about a high profile comedian but wouldn't name him because like there's a lot of power that he's got in the industry. And then we got the announcement on Friday. Russell Brand in plain sight. That there was many allegations going back as far as 2006 up to, at least with the ones that were included, like the stories that were included, they were retold by actors and shot by actors representing the women in questions that were wished to remain anonymous. There was one woman that actually spoke, like they saved everyone's identities. They were given different names, like in terms of like their story and what happened. Alice is the only one that spoke. Alice quotation marks, because they darked her out completely in silhouette, changed her voice, obviously gave her a different pseudonym, and there was no distinguishing features that you could see in the silhouette. So it's not like we could easily say like Russell Brand.
That's her. Yeah.
But at least like 5 or 6 like big like stories and accusations, like we have to say they're accusations because at this point he's not been proven guilty, but it was not a surprise when it became Russell Brand, even less so when before the announcement was dropped that it was Russell Brand, he posted a video on Twitter about him saying that there's some very serious
things coming.
Like, I completely refute these allegations, criminal allegations, but if you notice in that message in the video there's a jump cut. So he's taken something out of that video because you see his hands go from there to there. So he's probably rambled on, maybe said something that he didn't want to say, cut that bit out. Completely believable. Because this is the man that was, fired from the BBC Radio for calling up Andrew Sachs and leaving a voicemail on his phone with Jonathan Ross back in like 2007. Like previous like heroin addict on television, like known sex addict. It was kind of shocking that it's like more shocking for me that it's taken this long to maybe get here.
Get it.
But obviously, as a lot of people say, and like a lot of people would know, like we do not know because we've not been, victim or known any of these kind of things or seen any of this behaviour. And as men, we, unfortunately, statistically, it's less likely to happen to us. It's a lot more likely to happen
to
if
females.
you're a woman.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And someone did a graph of these people speak out, and it was like a graph of like, when they put up like the things for the statistics of cancer and stuff, and like smokers and things like that. It was I think it was like 100. So they did like a representation of 100 people, and they went, and the thing was titled, so like they like labelled it by colour, and it was rapists, and then it was like those that actually get accused, the number gets smaller. Like, they get allegations brought to the attention of the police. Those who actually go to court, that number gets even smaller.
Yeah.
Those who actually get, what is it? What's the thing? What am I thinking of? Like, when you get sentenced.
Yeah.
Those who actually get sentenced, like, to imprisonment, even smaller.
Yeah.
And then, because there's people that staunchly defend them. Like, I think one of the GB News people was staunchly defending Russell Brand, and the co-presenter went, "Did you watch the documentary?" Like, no. It's like, well, then you don't know what you're talking about then. Like, how can you staunchly back, like, you're a hero and stuff like that if you haven't actually at least taken the time to consider the other side of, like, what's happening. And then, like, these other two in the graph, there was just two, and it was falsely accused of these allegations. Because, unfortunately, 99% of the time, these things have happened.
Yeah.
They might not always get found guilty because people won't want to press charges. Victims find it very hard to come forward, especially in today's climate where social media is on your arse as soon as you say something.
Yeah.
Why have you only just said it now? Oh, you would do this stuff. Even in terms of like fans defending those kinds of people, like, oh, misunderstanding or what, even though like they're not kind of like you were never there, so you would never know.
Yeah.
You'd never know the circumstances. Obviously, we're only going to hear like their side from them saying it and Brand's side from that. So no one's ever going to have a fully complete, unless you were there. Like, you're never going to fully know. So why would you staunchly back someone that you don't know? You don't know the circumstances that happened and how it all happened. And why would you want to associate with someone that's being accused of being a rapist?
In general.
For me, that's just the thing that Twitter has always kicked up the fucking dirtiest of the dirt in terms of defending the cesspit of humanity.
Yeah. The people that have done
some of the
things.
responses to that, it's just like, it's like with Jimmy Savile. Some people only felt comfortable and safe enough to come out and say stuff after he was dead. Like, you can't be accused of jumping on the bandwagon, but like, the man held such power in the media industry. Russell Brand, arguably, less so in recent years, held a lot of power in the media industry. He was the face of comedy in the UK from about 2002, 2003 till arguably about 2008. And then past that, he went into America. He did like films like Get Him to the Greek, Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Yep.
Bedtime Stories. You've got
Despicable Me Too.
Despicable Me Too. Like,
Hop Arthur, Rock of Ages.
Because they'll find that comedian popular in Britain, and then they'll put him in films somehow because he's still. And the thing is that's clear in the documentary is Russell was never held accountable. He kept getting away with stuff, but like he kept not losing his job. Like he basically, whatever you say, resigned or whatever. He resigned from the BBC before they actually had to fire him. Because let's get this right. As much as I have always wanted to work for, and still there is a pipe dream that I would work for the BBC, mainly in Wales, like producing a little known show called Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Then, as a public-owned corporation, they are very private in the way they conduct their affairs and the way that they actually deal with these problems. Jimmy Savile has proved that corporations like this are not good at handling these situations. And for them to essentially... It's not like he was at the BBC the whole time, and that doesn't excuse it. But even under your roof, he was still doing it. And for another thing, you are unaware. You are unaware of him. You are unaware of the on-set antics with John Barrowman, like getting his penis out. You are unaware of the stuff Noel Clarke was doing. You are unaware of all these people. How many people do we have to go through? How many victims do we have to have before someone in a position of power in either the BBC, ITV, Channel 4, Channel 5, whatever, Netflix, I don't give a fuck. How do we get to the point where we stand up and we actually stop this? Had this been, not like, had he been pulled on, behaviour before it would get out of control, before he's actually committing these horrendous acts on these, essentially like children, like young girls,
young people,
in audiences and stuff like that, like you could have changed people's lives and outcomes and how they feel. Like these people have to now live with that. Very good comedian, Daniel Goss, I believe it is, Scottish comedian, someone who worked with Russell Brand a lot back in the day. He was the only person. Not close to him, because his PR, like his former PR manager, there was head of BBC, like BBC One controller from like 2005, and that were on there. Like these different people, none of these like directly like
associates, like close associates with him, of him.
Like Daniel Goss was a friend of him, and if you search it, like you, the audience, and you, Connor, search some of his stuff on like TikTok or Twitter, where he talks about, like, he doesn't outright name Russell, but that's who he's talking about. And he said like basically should I have done more, could I have done more. This is one of his stand-up gigs, and basically says and because of something of like me not standing up and not getting involved and not maybe doing something that I should have definitely done, a friend of mine got raped, and now I have to live with that till the day I die. Like, that is with me until the day I die. So the least I can do, like, it's not good to just not be associated with him, because I'll have to find the clip and show you. But like, it's basically saying like just to not be involved is nothing. Like, you might as well not be in the fucking room. You have to actively use your power and, let's face it, privilege of your gender to call people out on this when you see it. And he spoke publicly on Dispatches, like name, face, voice, everything. It was him. And it was him talking about it, and you can see, like, it's like, I should have done this a long time ago. This is me, not sort of like making himself, at least feel better about the fact that he's doing something now, which you've got to be, props to him for actually just going out there fully and just
committing to it and actually actioning it,
and not worried about what, could Russell do stuff to his career, like possibly, but he's been very out of the mainstream. He's become a very sort of political conspiracy theorist YouTuber who I used to like a lot of his stuff in the early 2010s when he started doing the truths, but that was obviously before I had a very political head on, like basically call out newspapers and stuff. And he uses a lot of zeitgeisty, big bombastic words to sort of
make himself more intelligent.
Clever, yeah. Like, like all these like I've been chastised for all like this thing, and I've always talked about in my books how I was very promiscuous. Like, promiscuity and sexual assault are not the same thing.
No.
Like, being like the Rolling Stones and having groupies, like they did the questionable stuff as well, and like having sex with people is more promiscuous than, basically essentially almost grooming like young teenagers, taking them out, like fucking them, and then never talking to them again, like kind of thing. It's mad. It's mad. I don't think we get on it, like, but it's kind of, while I've been on the subject, check out Channel 4's Dispatches, Russell Brand,
in plain sight.
And Dispatches
in
knock out of the park on a lot of their stuff in general, but it's one of the first times that it caught a lot of news sites. Obviously, Russell felt the need, because they contacted him to respond, and they used his response in the thing. Like, we asked him to respond, and this is all we got. Like, this video of him, like, refuting it. And they quote it, like, quote it word for word, like, so they're not, like, plagiarising anything. It's same with previous bosses that, like, failed to take part. I think the BBC basically didn't want to release the information about complaints about Russell, because it would affect it's not fair to publicly sort of like thing, or some bullshit statement. And basically it's like, they had no idea, they didn't file the complaints properly, because one of the production companies, that when he used to be on the Big Brother stuff, like, a complaint was put in, and it was never brought to Channel 4's actual attention. It just went to a certain point in Endemol, the production company, and didn't go any higher. And Channel 4 were like, we're looking into this. Hopefully, we didn't miss anything. If we did, that's down to us. We're going to be looking and trying to make changes, still help with ongoing investigations now that this stuff's come to light. But if it didn't get brought to our attention, we wish that it had, done? And like with future kind of things, because that's the difference between being like a publicly funded corporation and
multi-private, billionaire
like
private.
They've got stakes, so they know that they actually have to try.
Yeah.
Whereas the like the BBC have always had, there's always been this snobbery about it, and I don't agree with it. And I wish for the love of fucking God that they'd come out and actually sort of take ownership of stuff, like with actors that have done stuff. Not saying that you do automatically be forgiven, but for sort of owning your mistake more, like lends you up for like change, like James Gunn and his tweets that were dragged back up by Disney. He apologised for him then. He apologised for him after when he was dragged back through the ringer and subsequently fired and rehired. And has through his work tried to prove growth, and maybe companies like that. I just
need
don't
that
get
mindset.
I don't get how it goes on in that industry and no one sees it,
or it just floats under
so
the
many
radar.
blind eyes that everyone just because they like even I think his PR manager said like you just like it, for us in 2007 that was normal, like him walking about having meetings and just
quote unquote normal,
just his tighty whities and stuff like that. Like for them that was normal. And it shouldn't be.
No.
And we hope that all the victims get some kind of closure from actually now being able to tell their story. And I dread for I feel like the industry's kind of falling in on itself.
It is.
You've got
every minute.
You've got these accusations that every few years someone who's gotten away with it finally gets brought to attention of, arguably too late. But it's like, where is the trust in the industry? Along with the payment of especially with the stuff going on in America with the strikes, how are you meant to get people into this industry anymore? Like, where is the
it? Just
love
seems to be like the impossible,
kind of shit
the
gone?
impossible art now. Yeah, the impossible art, the impossible media that we love to talk about. But how are we going to get into it?
You can't make jokes about this, and this anymore. Times have changed. Everything's a time capsule as well, as it should. Things like comedy have to move on and evolve. But why can't we evolve past the need for these kind of like covered up
scenarios,
all the fucking time,
behind closed doors, instead of them being fucking shut, they should be wide open.
Nip it in the bud, get it out, get it gone.
Yeah, exactly.
If it carries on, sack them. Why are we still allowing these people jobs? Why are we still allowing them to be paid like hefty sums and live comfortably if they're being pieces of shit?
Yeah.
But anyway, that's the real bit. Speaking of pieces of shit, Connor has finally
Me?
finished Top
How
Boy.
dare you? Yeah, Kane Robinson, Kano, wherever your fucking music is, you're shit. Your character is shit.
I feel like we need to. We now need to talk about something a bit light-hearted because fuck me, that was.
and Top Boy is not. No, Top Boy is light-hearted enough in comparison to the real world, but fuck me.
Sorry, before we carry on, I dread to think who the other 4 or 5 comedians are. Like for me,
your guess is as good as mine.
I was never a massive Russell Brand fan. Like if he was on something, he was like kind of he's a bit eccentric and weird, and as a kid you obviously don't look at it and go,
bat an eyelid.
Look at it and go heroin addict, alcoholic, sex addict. Now you look at it and go, how the fuck did we miss that? It's the same as Savile, but
Yeah.
But yeah, I dread to think because if it, and like you say, like it wouldn't be so and so, it couldn't be so and so. You wouldn't have thought certain people were.
Would dare speak against your friend.
But, they've through accusations that we had in the industry, it's proved that anyone's capable of anything, and that's the scariest thing about it. But anyway, Connor's opinion of Top Boy. He has finished it. 5 seasons.
Fucking hell, Top
600
Boy.
million episodes. 200 bags of food.
Food. I never look at food again.
Your opinion before you watched it. And your journey, please.
My overall opinion before my overall opinion before I watched Top Boy.
Like you'd heard of it.
I'd heard the phrase. I've been a top boy in my office. I'm the only male in my office, and I am the top boy on my parts. But aside from that, it was just a thing that went viral every season came out. I saw the odd meme and text gif, and it was just kind of like, yeah, Top Boy is happening again. Oh, what is this fuss all about? And there were so many times where I sort of wanted to tune in and be like, what is he in about? But I just never quite got around to it. Every season, upon every couple of years, it's come out. But now, no loose ends. The final season, behind closed doors, the door is firmly shut. This, in my eyes, is definitely the end. I don't think it will carry on.
I don't want it to carry on.
No, this is definitely nipped the nail in the bud. And essentially, I did the chronicles of Summer House, the Channel 4 stuff that got re-brought back to Netflix and subtitled differently. Summer House, 8 episodes, seasons 1 and 2. I loved
shows though, isn't it? Like you can see, like it's the same show at its heart. But you can see it not just in terms of the money and the production spent.
No.
Sort of evolved. Like it's like with shout out to Diary of a CEO, like with Stephen Bartlett, because that's a fantastic podcast. Because he talks about how like it always wanted to the messages they wanted to say and it landed, especially on Channel 4, it landed at the right time because he like remember shooting the first series, and him and Kane were like, I mean, is this even going to, like, Channel 4 going to broadcast this? Because of the subject matter at the time, organised crime didn't actually portray, you know, black people. It didn't portray a lot of the realism of London.
No.
And this spoke to a lot of people, and the generation that it caught and attracted, like, and the kind of storytelling that it has brought about, and, you know, the fact that, like, what it has created since, like, will always be fucking amazing, because, like, it's one of the few things in terms of, like, black representation on the screen. It's one of the few things that you've been able to count on in recent years, like, predominantly black cast. Top Boy, Luke Cage. That's all I can really think of in TV. Like Power. There's not many shows, movies, like, even less so. You've got Black Panther, both of those films. There's more empowerment stuff and, like, things in Black Klansman is fucking fantastic. Need, like, as a cis white male, I don't want to just see stories about cis white males.
I completely agree with that.
Like,
yeah, that's
as
fine.
As much as, you know, see yourself on screen and all this shit, I am ecstatic that we are getting our first black actor to portray the Doctor.
Oh, over the moon. Yeah,
like, absolutely ecstatic. He's LGBT plus, Q plus. I forget what the, you know, LGBTQIA plus, I believe, and, you know, a person of color. It's fantastic because I want to experience stories that aren't my own. I want to learn about things, and I want to feel like, you know, media is the easiest way to start consuming someone's culture.
Yeah, fine. Yeah.
And things like that. Like, Top Boy is like a fucking amazing show. Doesn't represent me in any way.
No, definitely doesn't me.
It represents a part of London and a people that, like, I'm not part of. I don't, like, know that all the shit that you go through, like, just in terms of things like
day-to-day shenanigans.
Same with, you know, LGBT plus representation. It's, you know, we don't, you know, unfortunately don't know those struggles because we haven't had to put up with them.
We haven't experienced them. You know,
all white people in the industry just get a fucking free pass and get to make whatever they want. It's harder to make those kind of things, and like everyone always says, like, you know, oh, it's got to be balanced. It's got to be balanced. But it's been one way for so long. The only way to counterbalance it is to go completely the other way. Let's have more. You know, I want to, you know, see stuff like, you know, like Elemental is low key about, you know, immigration and things like that, and, you know, there's a lot of Asian subtext beneath, like, the way, like, the community and stuff. Like, I want to know those kind of stories. I want to know stories about people that are nothing like me. I want to be able to, like, at least connect with you on a level.
Yeah, on a level.
So that I can appreciate the shit you've gone through. Like, because you've all gone through shit in your lives, but everyone else apart from us goes through a lot more. And, like, I just want to at least sort of watch it and appreciate it and kind of, in my way, understand it and be part of a fucking better world where, like, everyone's fucking represented, kind of thing. Sorry, it's about like, we're talking about some heavy subject matter, really, like, in terms of a podcast that prides itself on escapism.
Yeah.
It's one of the reasons why I love this show. Did I love the final season? I already alluded to Game of Thrones final season vibes. Connor, going into it, so you watched the Summer House stuff. Sorry, we'll go back to that.
Channel 4 pre-Netflix, pre-big budget, pre-Drakeified. 8 episodes, felt like one big movie. I kind of did both of those seasons in a night, both, like, across 2 nights. So it was kind of like a big 2-hour movie.
A lot happens, but there's enough room to breathe in them 4 episodes.
Yeah.
So that can't be said for series
3, 5, 3, 53.
Yeah, go on.
Just it don't straight up. The Top Boy experience just doesn't feel like a show. He's like, as George has mentioned earlier, he's just a glimpse into another life that we personally, as cis white males, don't experience. But it resonates a bit with us because not only are we from in the UK area, but London really is only, you know, an hour drive max. An hour in a certain direction from us, and the fact that, you know, of course, this stuff, kind of like everything we spoke about today, is behind closed doors to an extent, and because we're not in those areas and we don't have that kind of lifestyle, and because we're not in that field, we don't know what it's like on a daily basis. But this just, for me, and I mean for someone that doesn't watch as much TV as George, it didn't feel like a show. It just felt like a documentary that was, you know, linear, without getting cut down by interviews, and just this is just a day in the life of, you know, a black male and a black female, and in the streets of authentic London, and you know, an industry that people shouldn't get into at all. It's not a happy, and as the show proves, it's not a happy and fun game. It has its highs, it has its lows, but it's the wrong path, and this is why. And that's essentially his Top Boy, all of it in a nutshell.
Yeah.
But I don't know, I just loved all of it.
Yeah, we vastly enjoy it, and it's a reason why, you know, Nia DaCosta directed some episodes of Top Boy.
She did, yeah.
And
Candyman,
now
yeah.
she's finally being given like a big budget fucking comic book movie in the Marvels. Like, obviously, like she did Bogeyman.
Candyman.
Candyman.
Yeah, the Candyman reboot. Again, another black story, but that again on film.
Yeah, more of it. It, like, you know, to find a director like her, who's like, her visual eye is fucking amazing, and then, you know, to come out of that, obviously, more doors are opened post, you know, Netflix acquisition.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, as you all said, like, Drake didn't make the show.
No.
He just was able to get us through a lot of doors a lot quicker than it would have taken if it was us. Because he had the power, he had the money, you know,
the influence.
He's just big in terms of, you know, the pop culture and media landscape, because he's a, you know, fast-selling, like, very popular artist. And for him to back a show publicly and say, like, I want this to continue, you know, that means it's getting made. And it'll get made a lot faster than it would have done. You know, we could still be waiting. I know that we had a quick, you know, by the time it was announced and then the turnaround, like, it was only like 6 years between, like, it being cancelled by Channel 4. And like I said, my last mention of Diary of a CEO, like, he talks about, like, why, you know, I can't gather, like, why Channel 4 didn't pick it up for the third season, and, like, actually what was it like. It's one of those things, like, it's been so long, like, you kind of make up scenarios in your head, but, like, for me, I believe there was a changing of the guard at the top end, like, of Channel 4 at the time, and normally with that, the first thing someone new coming in does is they cancel whatever's already
existing stuff,
because they, like, want to put their own stamp on it. They don't want to just, like, you know, be riding off because if he, like, Top Boy carried on and was a success, that's not down to him, that's down to the previous
you
know what I mean? And it's why a lot of things, like, generally, and the thing that tends to get cancelled tends to be the most popular stuff, so they just didn't pick it up. But, you know, it kind of worked out well in the end.
Definitely in the end.
So you talked about, like, the Channel 4 stuff.
Mm.
Your opinion of the Netflix stuff then coming off of the first 2 original seasons.
Summer Boy's explosive ending, which of course triggered the cancellation, and the you know, the first what the fuck moment I've had in a while with a TV program. And again, back to 2013, of course, I would have been part of that discussion, part of that crowd, and been like, why the fuck did they cancel it? But alas, Netflix saved the day. Drake and Netflix saved the day, and we got the 2019. I want to say 2016, but it's 2019 reboot of some sorts. But again, bigger production, better budget. Each episode felt like a movie, like a proper cinematic movie. But I guess that's more just Netflix's style, because I feel like a lot of things on Netflix visually and just the cinematography wise feel more grand scale, more gravitas, more artsy, more movie like. But the increased episode counts as well in this case worked favourably. I liked the 10 episodes. Although I did get to the end of episode 4 of Netflix season 1, season 3, however you want to phrase it, and it felt like I'd done a mini series then at that point as well.
Yeah.
It was kind of odd to grasp, but going from 4, then 10.
When you've had, like we said, that's more than what you've already had, like,
previously.
Before.
Yeah,
like, that's all of it.
That'd have been 2 seasons more than what you would have got originally.
Yeah.
But it did the right thing. It luckily, in terms of rebooting, it isn't a reboot. It very much is a continuation of what came before. It doesn't necessarily pick up the cliffhanger from 2013 and run with it. Like, it is 5 years, however many years later after that ending. And it is accessible to those that didn't watch the Channel 4 stuff originally. Although, again, like with most things, I always would do things in release order, or the order in which it was produced in. But honestly, with Top Boy, I would strongly urge that you watch the previous stuff beforehand, because even some of the chatter amongst the characters and the inner dialogues, you can feel and sense that there's tension between the two leads, Sully and Deshane. But then if you hadn't watched the 2 seasons beforehand, I would have personally not... I would have said it was overhyped, I don't get the discussion, and it would have been like, what are these lot beefing about, to an extent. I would have got the history, but you don't go in depth because you haven't been there to watch it previously. But then, like I say, with all good reboots, you get newer characters, you get slightly different settings. And again, early on, you sort of get shock revelations from characters that were previously in the old show that, in my mind, weren't coming back. And then they strolled in and they got expanded upon. They grew up because it's life and, actors get older. And you get some really nice old faces come back. All right, there would have been a face or two period from the Summer House era that I would have loved to have seen more of in this.
Ronell.
Yeah, Ronell. Yeah, hashtag justice for Ronell. But then I don't know. We got Stefan instead, who isn't Ronell at all. But
The closest thing the new series has
Yeah.
to that version of the character kind of thing.
Ronell, yeah, he was the one that hurt. Still to this day hurts that we didn't get any continuation of Ronell. But then, him and his mum moving out the flat at the end of Summer House, that is kind of them out of that life, I suppose. But then, we could have had them in Jamaica living out their life, sort of tying in with what happens in season 1. But yeah, and then we get, again, breaking down characters now, and then you get, say, Stefan, who becomes an important character in the most recent season, and you get the likes of Jamie and the middle brother, Aaron. Prowler, Miles. He looked similar to Miles, but then Aaron because of the Prowler, so I should remember that one. It just... Season 1, it was 2 miniseries plus 2 episodes, but it felt accessible for enough of those that hadn't watched it.
Yeah.
But it very much is built off of the story that came before.
Yeah.
And because originally, before you even told me, or before I even committed to watching it, I just thought Summer House was season 1 and 2, because they're both 4 episodes. I thought it was just going to be more anthology based, more singular stories.
Yeah.
Like season 1 would be about this group, season 2 would be about this group.
That's a good idea if it was to carry on.
And then the Netflix stuff would be, all right, this is ignoring everything that came previously, but this is like our story. But the fact that it all kind of flows into one big string, I really appreciate.
Yeah, in the end, it's been a journey. Like, it's not been the straight from start to finish thing, but the elements that are important within it have always been there,
consistent.
And I think the arcs of the 2 main characters, I think, have been pretty consistent throughout. And the main thing that we've taken from this is them 2.
It's definitely those 2.
It's obviously going to be, it's obviously always going to be them. They're the main characters. But like you say, I think Michael Ward as Jamie is a fucking revelation.
He is
amazing.
a modern revelation.
Fantastic young actor.
Yeah.
I cannot wait to see him more things, because I know he's playing Ian Wright in a documentary thing coming up, docudrama coming up soon about his life. So that'll be interesting. I just want to see him in more stuff. He's in a play currently in theatre in London with Lily from Sex Education.
Oh.
And I think there's a limited run left on it. I think it's end of this month. I think it finishes.
Bloody hell. Oh.
Yeah, I'll try and find. I think it's on his Instagram if you want to go and look at it and get tickets or whatever. But yeah. So Jamie, breath of fresh air. Sort of. In terms of spoilers for the final season. Did you want to read out your review that you did?
Essay.
Because Connor would kind of text me and be like, "All right, I've done this. All right, there's only a couple of episodes left of this bit.
I kept him updated.
Oh, I've finished season 2. Poor Jamie."
Poor Jamie.
Yes. And then you're I think you text me the last time before the end was I've watched 3 episodes. I've got 3 episodes left. Something like that.
Yeah.
Thoughts on the final season in general, and then your overall review of it.
Essay.
Yes, I loved it. It was wicked.
Thoughts of the last season in general. Yeah, I mean, we've discussed it enough times off camera, and I've kind of said the words, but missing episodes, rushed, just things like the protests that essentially happened twice in this season. They should have just been their own episodes. Why were they sort of interwoven between some of the other characters' stuff? It essentially was kind of like look, there's a rally, look at this distraction, while we have to move characters from point A to get to point B, and then, this character's gone into point B, but then you've got another character that's in point C, and he has to go to point F, and they kind of go... The riot isn't... The protest riot, however you want to word it, is one episode itself, and yet you've got 3 or 4. I think 4. I can't think of the names, but maybe 4 people that literally are in their thing, doing their scenes, doing their stuff, and yet they're kind of interwoven into around this big plot point that really should be its episode. But in fairness, most of the run times of this season were about 50, 55, 56, between an hour slot. I feel like there's only one episode of this new bunch that was only around 40 minutes. I think they were long for what they were, but there's definite material that should have just been expanded upon in its own episode and not been the median that sort of connected other plots. It should have just been this episode, and that should have been it. But that was like my big thing about this season. But again, the last episode itself, of course, this season 5, of course, why would you watch the last season of any program without watching any Top Boy beforehand? Like, you're a muppet if you do that. You're a waste man, as they would say in the streets. But again, even if you just do the Netflix stuff 1 to 3, you get a sense of closure from what the Netflix family of Jamie, Stefan and Aaron kind of bring to the table, but then you don't... The impact of Sully and Deshane, Ashley Walters and, Kane Robinson, Sully Robinson, where the fuck his name is? Kano. Mortal Kombat Kano. You won't get their closure. It's like watching, without comparing it at all, Captain America and Iron Man, but you've only just seen the Avengers movies, and you haven't seen anything beforehand or in between. It's not, you wouldn't get the full breadth of what goes on in that last episode. But the finale itself, after 20, I want to say 28 episodes in total, 27 not counting the finale in total. I'm just going to do a quick episode count just because I just want to get it right. So 4, 4, 10, 8, 5, 10, 18, 20, 26. Yeah, so I think I was right. 27 episodes beforehand going into this divisive season, to say the least, sort of underwhelming, isn't missing a punch of a season. But the last episode, I don't want to say it makes or break, it doesn't make up for the lack of effort that's gone into this season, because at the end of the day, this season is definitely the weakest and, just isn't the most impactful. But the last episode, for me, I guess, made it worth it. However, after the end of season 2 / season 4 a year ago, #Jamie, I was tempted to not watch. That's how passionate I got into it.
So read us
But essentially, this season was easily the weakest. However, I thought the last episode, I'm sort of wording it like text over George. Yeah. However, I thought the last episode did its job in the sense of being unpredictable enough and keeping you on the edge of your seat / bed for those that, watch in different environments. I'm thinking about the seating conditions. I should have even put rug. Both men dying at the end made the most sense to me. Yeah, spoiler alert. Sully and Deshane. No fucker lives. It made the most sense to me and sort of ultimately reflects the life they live because of all their greed, killing, and ascending the Game of Thrones / type ranks in terms of like the street life gang, in terms of who's got the most food / drugs, the the territory, the streets, everything like that. But again, ultimately, of course, it's a sad story, it's depressing, and it weren't going to end happy, let's be honest. Even no one could, I didn't even have to tell you that, but it weren't going to end pretty. But again, I'll reflect on Jamie's death last season. It almost made me not watch the last season, because I thought, his character is kind of like a good blend between Sully and Deshane, where Sully, I get, is like a father through and through. He will do anything for his daughter. He wants to be there and wants to be a better dad. Yes, he went through a relationship and they're obviously not together because of the life he lives. And Sully, I get from a certain angle, is doing the right thing as a father would do. Again, doesn't make it right in this situation. Deshane, on the other hand, is like his best friend. Again, somehow season 1, they're on they're on the same page. They're sort of best buds and they get shit done together. But as the show goes on, regardless if it's Summer House and Netflix, they just clash, they bump, their individuality sort of shines through, and both characters kind of grow in their own ways and go through their own arcs. But essentially, out of the two, Deshane I've connected with more, I resonated, and I felt more for him. Alright, he goes through different stuff, he goes through different losses to what Sully goes through, but Sully, he just made a choice in the last season that I just couldn't resonate with, and he just turned from fucking sorry babyface to mega dickhead heel that deserved to die and rot in hell, in my opinion. But then my thoughts on Deshane reflected negatively on this season. He was just a dickhead as well.
Yeah, I think they kind of went in opposite directions.
With
the whole
yeah.
premise of this season is that Sully takes over as the top boy.
As the top boy.
Was running the establishment because he was Deshane was like scoping out Jamie to basically be his replacement, his retirement plan. He would make everything legit, still get paid off for it being his business, but he would be running it, and
he would live his happy life with
Sully caught wind of that, and
yeah.
That's why he popped a bullet in Jamie's head. At the end of the day, like that's the long and the short of it. But yeah, it's one of those things that like I think. It's a shame because Michael Ward is fantastic, and Jamie is a big miss this season, as are a lot of characters that we don't see.
No.
The character that I alluded to in previous weeks was Aaron.
Aaron, definitely like, Aaron. Yeah,
I didn't get much
him
to do in that second season, so why would I come back and do it again? Which is a shame because he's just mentioned, oh, he's working up in Leeds now, and the fact that they reshot the shooting thing. Obviously, they don't use the previous footage, but it's a body double of Tia. You don't see the rest of the brothers, and it's literally just it makes Stefan's story, I think, weaker because he's not, sharing in like the stuff with like his brother. Like it's another loss of a family member. Like the whole thing is about family and this family unit and these like amazing group of young actors, and you're kind of isolating Stefan. It boils down to it's just revenge. Stefan's going to be the one to kill Sully. Which he's not in the end.
No, he does the right thing.
He takes the road less travelled, and he takes the higher ground, and just goes, "No,
you're not worth
it.
Yeah, you're not worth it."
And Sully has come to terms with the fact that like that's probably going to happen, and he's like,
death's going to come knocking on his door at some point. Yeah, he sort of accepts it in the last episode. Yeah,
and the ending itself, because like, did you like Barry Keoghan?
As brief as he was, I was from the trailers. I thought
pointless.
He's completely. He's too expensive. Hence why he was only in 1.5 episodes, if that.
Yeah, basically like 2 episodes, if that.
Yeah,
and it's like that's a plot point that did we really need it?
Did we need it? Yeah, it could have been anybody as well. It didn't have to be him, but yeah, it was interesting. But it was kind of like,
exactly
bruv, like what?
But that whole plot point, the stuff with because Lizzie and Life had run off with the money. Like you don't see Lizzie at all this season anyway.
No.
No. Jeffrey then gets like beaten to death like savagely, and that's it. There's no. I mean, that's the thing that starts the ball rolling on the demise of Deshane in terms of the police closing in. What leads to his eventual like demise is his own brutal actions.
Yeah.
I like that because as soon as he done that, the way he was acting with Shelley and stuff, and like I know, he's upset about losing his money, but it's not down to him or Jeffrey or whatever. Like they've been stitched over in a way that they didn't expect, and it's led to the death of not an innocent man, but like someone who was he was the straight one out of him and Lizzie, because Lizzie's the one that brought the drugs into the part of it that gave them the money enough to begin the development stuff. That helped sort of, build their fortune, so to speak. But I don't even know if any of this is coming through on the microphone because I'm speaking loudly, but it's really not fucking happening, Toast. We'll try that. That seems to be a bit better. Oh my god, I thought it stopped.
Good night.
But yeah, I think there's just so many elements that weren't like. I'm that kind of person that like I'm skeptical about the end of Sex Education because there's a lot of characters not coming back. Connor's kneeling on the floor now.
I know. I'm begging for the Netflix gods. I'm begging. I'm just begging. It ain't gonna have the same sort of feel.
I don't get it. I really like so many elements. I know there was a lot of expectation, push and pull that you learn from like behind the scenes stuff. Like they wanted it one way. Netflix obviously wants certain things to happen. Where do you go from it? Is it a bad season of television? No, not at all.
No.
But
the quality is still consistent enough. If there was something in the field, there was something in the presentation, there was something in the writing which made me go, this isn't Top Boy, then I'd be like, okay, I'm not even going to watch the last episode. But because it still felt consistent enough...
Fundamentally, it's the same thing,
It is the same thing, and it flowed naturally, so... natural enough.
Yeah. But for me, it's kind of like it's like the Game of Thrones thing. You get there. Okay, I like where the plot's going. What we're gonna do seems like a decent way to go for it. And then you're still gonna get to like episode 4, and you're like, there's not enough time
To
to
get
finish all this.
This wrapped
And
up.
there
this
wasn't
wrapped
even
up.
a longer last episode. They were all essentially like the same length. Like
yeah.
51 minutes ish. Like they were all
Yeah.
essentially the same thing.
Yeah.
And like you say, like the whole Barry Keoghan plot point with the McGee's, you know,
Completely irrelevant.
completely irrelevant and superfluous to the whole thing. If we're honest,
It just gave us a funny scene in an old people's home. I mean,
and
that
it
was
ends
worth it. But
for no loose ends. It ends with a big fucking loose end in terms of who killed Sully. The whole it was a bit of like them two, like because Deshane's desperate to get. He's now got to get out of the country because the police are onto him. Like even the police officers that were undercover, we didn't see them at all.
no,
even though their whole thing
exactly.
was,
They got dispatched
you know,
by that guy, and then,
yeah,
we didn't see them.
We need to fucking catch Duchesne was their whole thing. Like we need to bring down this whole organisation. He needs to be behind bars, and this whole police hunt for him, and they're nowhere to be seen.
No.
And the thing that brings him down is the murder, and he's now got to leave the country. He has no money because life's got it all, so he resorts to stealing the drug supply that
Jack was going
that Jack was using to, because the stuff with her sister and her way out of it. I get she was one of the, because it was especially in the dialogue when Sully's like, don't be me.
Yeah,
Like, 'cause
don't
he's
be
talking
me.
about the whole
Yeah,
stuff with the retaliation to Jason's death.
yeah.
He's
Don't
like,
be
you don't
me.
want to go down that road. It's dark. You can't be me. You got to be better than me, kind of thing. Because
Mm.
she's still got enough of a foot in the real world left, which she does, for our knowledge, leave in that kind of safety now that Sully's, you know, not going to be after her.
Yeah,
You know, Duchesne taking the drugs because he needs to, you know, at least get out of there.
get out of the country.
But the fact that the two hard men were quickly dispatched of in a shootout with Sully and his mate, the one that
Oh fuck.
his hard nut mate,
Yeah.
that was his like right hand man, and then it's just them two, and it's just the scene of it, like, you know, that's memed like throughout the internet over, but
This week
is a
especially.
real story about two friends that's what they were. They were best friends, brothers
in a way. Yeah.
brothers at arms,
Mm.
you know. And there's the whole argument bickering throughout the series of like, you know, you never thought enough of me. Like I was always just the
As your
muscle.
brother. Yeah.
Yeah, you never see us as equal. Like
It's always been just,
it's always you
been
and then
your
and
show.
then me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's a sort of redemption as, you know, Duchesne dies, and then like Sully thinking that, you know, he's gonna die, evades Stefan. There's a nice calm. You know, he's telling his daughter that he's gonna probably like be gone for a while because he'll have to lay down for a bit, lie low, and then you get the shocking thing of just as he's about to, you know, drive off
into the sunset.
pops in the back of the head, and we're left on that. The various theories, like, suggest your own in the comments, whether it was Jack, whether it was Rafe, Jermaine and Sully's
Right, yeah, Rafe. Yeah.
Jermaine's brother and Sully's other cousin, who like had to try and help him get Jermaine back when he got kidnapped by Sully in
Earlier on in
season
other
2.
season. Yeah. Jam, yeah.
Whether it was, you know, secretly Driss because they were dressed in green, whether it was Stefan with a change of heart, we'll never truly know.
No.
Top Boy itself is dead. Are there ways it could carry on? Absolutely. Well, do I want to see more of that? No, I think it would just be, you know, you can't really do it without them because they're the draw, but also you wouldn't be able to have kept doing it with them, you know, in their, like, you know, they're already in their mid to late 30s. Are you going to really drag them back up again?
And they did.
Into their 40s
Yeah.
and things like that. So, but are you then going to then do the same sort of thing to another set of characters? Are you going to have it to Jack? Are you going to have it... Maybe the story itself becomes different, like you say, and we get some kind of anthology thing and follow something else going forward.
Yeah.
And the linchpin holding it all together is familiar characters. And I'm gutted that the whole thing was based off of... I know it's like, well, Jamie was in the trailer and it was clear that Jamie was dead, because there was conspiracies going around for ages that Jamie wasn't actually dead. Because of the way of framing of certain stuff, that it was all a dream sort of thing.
Oh.
And the way that, you know, like, if you just saw it, like, you'd scream like your brother killed and like you were screaming over it. The fact that Tia just walks in and has no idea anything's happened, even though she would hear it from outside.
Oh,
like,
I see.
All things like that made people believe it was...
I remember watching the trailer with you. Obviously, I hadn't watched it at that point, so that stuff would have clocked over my head. But I might even rewatch the trailers and maybe dive into these theories and been like, what if?
Possibly, yeah. And it's just a thing of like... I know, like, people like Jamie were in the trailer, so like Darnell being in it doesn't mean nothing. But the fact it was no loose ends, we didn't even kind of get a wrap up for like how that kind of stuff was left. Because at the end of the day, Sully killed Leon, a father figure to Darnell that was a major part of the earlier seasons. You know, stuff like he's affected Jem's life. Obviously, he got Jason killed.
Ronell should have been Modi. I like that theory.
It could have been, yeah, but I think Modi was good as his own entity. He's just this crazy thing. And I think Dave did really well playing him. Daily offender, crazy EastEnder. But yeah, I think Jamie was the biggest miss, but obviously the obvious things of characters that should have returned but didn't, so we didn't get any closure to their arcs, because like with Stranger Things and ensemble shows, what we want then is more of those characters and interaction with each other.
Yeah,
and where a show like Stranger Things is scared to kill off those characters, a show like this, you know, didn't bring
some
them
people back.
And I know that like the actor that played Darnell didn't want to when it first come back, but you know, you kind of always hope that this is the final like go out of this.
Do something. Yeah.
Like even if he'd have showed up and shot Sully,
brilliant.
Like that's brilliant to end on.
Yeah,
just
that
like,
would have been epic.
Because now your thing's going to be like, oh no, it's got to come back because we've got to find out who killed him. It's like, no, I kind
Why
of.
did Darnell come back and kill him? Yeah.
But then in your head, you already know because of previous.
Everything that happens. Yeah.
What did you guys think of Top Boy? Are you fans of it? Are you not fans of it? Do you really give a shit about anything we've talked about for the last hour? Or like show your support for the documentaries and, you know, don't support fucking wrong uns online. But, you know, that's been a thing for us for ages. You know, will the Subwave Network broadcast channel on Instagram for Doctor Who, will that throw up anything? And
potentially.
Maybe we'll get back to talking about some silly stuff like the collection sets and other things next time. And
maybe
will we get some
we'll have an
tickets to
update.
the animation of... I was going to say the United Menace. No, it's the Underwater Menace.
The United Underwater Atlantean Menace.
That
is not Aquaman and Lost Kingdom.
Where can they find us?
Well, you've somehow found us on YouTube, I assume.
Hello there.
Hello. Yes, hello there. But you can also find us across Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, where we will try and review and spoiler-free stuff. And maybe I should have freaking gone on reacted to Top Boy and done Jamie's death. And I could have done things. But anyway, if you want to send any emails, quandaries, theories, ideas, anything you want us to see in the future, then maybe you can send us an email at nerdbiblecontact@gmail.com.
And at Pasty Sheep across all various platforms. And we will see you guys next time.
Bye.